Zhuxi didn't know about this yet, so she opened Weibo. The following is full of Su Qianru's fans' carnival. Everyone left messages. Oh my god, Goddess Qianru has made progress and started dating. She is dating Fu Nancheng, the #1 tycoon in Yecheng. A cold and abstinent boss versus a genius perfumer. What kind of love story is this? It's like a state banquet. I'll eat it first to show my respect. Goddess Qianru, I love you! Su Qianru already had 6 million fans. This wave of romance made her famous, and her fan base soared to 8 million. Zhuxi stared at the ceiling with blank eyes for a while. It would be a lie to say that she didn't mind, because that was Su Qianru, the Su Qianru who pushed her grandmother down the stairs. He actually had a scandal with Su Qianru. At this moment, Zhuxi suddenly remembered that Ying Ying had told him some time ago that he was going to marry Su Qianru, and he already had a story with Su Qianru. Let's wait for Fu Nancheng to come back and ask him. At this time, the cell phone rang and Su Changrong called her. After pressing the button, Su Changrong said happily on the other end, "Cici, come home for dinner today. I have something important to announce." Zhuxi intuitively felt that this matter was related to Fu Nancheng and Su Qianru. Su Changrong? There must be something fishy going on when he speaks so politely. Anyway, come back soon. It will do you good. Okay, I will go back. Zhuxi returned to the Su family living room. Cici. Su Changrong and Lilan were sitting on the sofa in the living room with smiles on their faces. Cici, come and sit down. There was no emotion on Zhuxi's palm-sized face. She just looked at Su Changrong and said, "If you have anything to say, please tell me now." Cici, there is one thing you may not know. 2 years ago, when President Fu married Shui Shui, he actually married the wrong person. Qianru is President Fu's real bride. Did Fu Nancheng marry the wrong person? In fact, the person he wants to marry is Su Qianru? Is Su Qianru Fu Nancheng's real bride? What does this have to do with me? Why did you specially call me over? Lilan said quickly. I don't know how you got close to the Fu family, but now that your sister is engaged to Mr. Fu, you should avoid suspicion. So, your parents will introduce you to a young talent who doesn't mind your face. Is that okay with you? The sun rose from the west today, and Su Changrong and Lilan actually wanted to make up for her. They were probably afraid that I would block Su Qianru's way. Zhuxi stood up and said, "Don't worry about my affairs, I have a boyfriend." At this time, Su Qianru's voice sounded at the door. "Cici, who is your boyfriend?" Zhuxi looked up and saw Su Qianru walking in. There was another person beside her, Fu Nancheng. Zhuxi froze. She didn't expect to see him at the Su family. Fu Nancheng actually came with Su Qianru. They really... Forget it. It has nothing to do with me. Cici, you haven't answered my question yet. Who is your boyfriend? Su Qianru asked curiously. Zhuxi glanced at Fu Nancheng. The man was wearing a blue shirt, looking dignified and tall. Now his deep, narrow eyes were fixed on her face, looking at her quietly. "Want to know? Guess it yourself, I'm leaving." Zhuxi left. Su Qianru didn't know who Zhuxi's boyfriend was, but she felt disdainful of the idea that a clown girl from the countryside could find a boyfriend with such good conditions. Ignore her. Come on, Mr. Fu, come in and sit down. Su Changrong stood up to greet Fu Nancheng. No need, Fu Nancheng said indifferently. Were you the ones who leaked the photos? I agreed to meet you only because you mentioned the wound healing, but that doesn't mean I will tolerate you plotting against me. I advise you not to do any more small tricks. Mr. Fu, Su Qianru froze. She didn't expect Fu Nancheng to come here. Did he come here just to ask this? Su Qianru was a little panicked. That's right, someone secretly took photos of her and Fu Nancheng when they met that night, and she leaked the photos to the media reporters this morning. Don't do this kind of thing again in the future. After saying that, Fu Nancheng left. She had already suffered 2 defeats in a row at the hands of Mrs. Fu and Fu Yingying, and she couldn't stand being beaten passively anymore. He was able to find out with just a little effort. Mr. Fu is too perceptive. Can King's affairs really be hidden from him? Bedroom of Yipin Lan Villa. Zhuxi returned to Yipin Lan Villa and began to look for the jade pendant. I can't do it anymore. I searched the room and the study, but still couldn't find it. I have searched the old house and Yipanlan, but where is the jade pendant? It's not in the Fu family's old house, nor in Yipanlan Villa, so where on earth did he put the jade pendant? Zhuxi felt a little sleepy and went to bed early. Nightfall. Zhuxi fell asleep from tiredness looking for the pendant, then a click sound was heard, the door suddenly opened and Fu Nanqing came in. "You little heartless thing, you sleep so soundly." As night fell, Zhuxi felt someone pressing on her, with dense kisses rolling on her face and red lips, and soon a hand reached into the quilt. Zhuxi opened her sleepy eyes and Fu Nanqing's handsome face enlarged in her sight. "Did I wake you?" he asked in a low voice. Her voice was soft and sticky when she first woke up. "Then you can continue to sleep," he kissed her. How can she sleep with him making so much noise? Zhuxi held his big hand and looked at him with sleepy eyes. "What's going on between you and Su Qianru?" Fu Nanqing slowly curled his thin lips, a cold smile overflowing from his eyes. "Why, are you jealous?" "No." Fu Nanqing let go of her, put his hands on the edge of the bed, and said, "No, Zhuxi, who is the boyfriend you are talking about? Is it me? Who else but me?" He looked down at her and his eyes were deep. She thought the topic was over, but the man looked at her and suddenly asked, "Who is your boyfriend?" Zhuxi's heart tightened. In fact, she had just said it casually in the Su family and it didn't mean anything. Does he now hope it is him or not? Don't worry, I'm not talking about Mr. Fu. After all, our relationship has only been half a year. I won't tell anyone and make things difficult for you. The temperature from Zhuxi's body gradually faded away. Fu Nanqing's body was a little stiff, unlike his usual tenderness and affection. Fu Nanqing stood up and looked at her. "It's good that you know." He got up from the bed and left the room. Soon, Zhuxi heard the sound of a car engine outside and he drove away. The two of them parted on bad terms tonight. As expected, he doesn't want to have anything to do with me now. I should find the jade pendant as soon as possible and end these 6 months. At this time, the cell phone rang and Madame Fu called her. "Mom? Cece, you've been wronged. Come home and live here quickly. I'll help you vent your anger tomorrow." Vent? Vent on whom? Fu Nanqing? Preview next chapter. After eating a large piece of strawberry cake, Zhuxi went upstairs and entered the room. The next second, she noticed something strange in the room and there was a noise on the balcony. "What's going on?" Zhuxi walked over cautiously. At this moment, a tall and straight figure climbed onto the balcony, opened the French window, and walked directly in. "Fu Nanqing? Mr. Fu, how did you get in?" "Did you climb up through the window?" Mrs. Fu didn't allow him to go home, but he actually climbed up through the window. Zhuxi couldn't believe it. How could the CEO of Fu Group climb through the window?